Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Banachari Yamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Banachari Jamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jayam Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajakachaja Astotara Sata Sri Srimadhesi Bhaktivedanta Swami Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Sri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Shri Vrindavan Mathura Dham Ki Jai Navadip Mayapur Dham Ki Jai Jamuna Mai Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, verse 19. Bahunam janmanamante gyanavam mam prapadyate vasudeva sarvamiti samahatma sudurlabha. Bahunam janmanamante gyanavan mam prapadyate vasudeva sarvamiti samahatma sudurlabha. Bahunam janmanamante gyanavam mam prapadyate Vasudeva sarvamiti samahatma sudurlabha. Bahunam janmanamante gyanavam mam prapadyate Vasudeva sarvamiti samahatma sudurlabha. Bahunam many, janmanam births, ante after, gyanavan he possessing knowledge, mam unto me, prapadyate surrenders, vasudeva cause of all causes, sarvam all, iti thus, sa such, Mahatma great soul, sudurlabha very rare. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. After many births and deaths, he who is actually acknowledged surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a soul is very rare. The living entity, while executing devotional service or transcendental rituals after many, many births, may actually become situated in transcendental pure knowledge that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the ultimate goal of spiritual realization. In the beginning of spiritual realization, when one is trying to give up one's attachment to materialism, there is some leaning towards impersonalism. But when one is further advanced, he can understand that there are activities in the spiritual life and that these activities constitute devotional service. Realizing this, he becomes attached to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and surrenders unto Him. At such a time, one can understand that Lord Sri Krishna's mercy is everything, that He is the cause of all causes, and that this material manifestation is not independent from Him. He realizes the material world to be a perverted reflection of the spiritual variegatedness, and realizes that in everything there is a relationship with the Supreme Lord Krishna. Thus he thinks of everything in relationship with Vasudeva or Sri Krishna. Such a universal vision of Vasudeva precipitates one's full surrender to the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna as the highest goal. Such surrendered great souls are very rare. This verse is very nicely explained in the 3rd chapter of Shvetashvatara Upanishads. In this body, there are powers of speaking, seeing, of hearing, of mental activities, etc. But these are not important, if not related to the Supreme Lord. And because Vasudeva is all-pervading and everything is Vasudeva, the devotee surrenders in full knowledge. Reference Bhagavad Gita 7:17 and 11:40. Bhavanam jamanam ante gyanavam mam prapadyate vasudeva sarvamiti samahatma sudurlabha. This is an important verse wherein Krishna explains that it's not that easy to become a devotee of Krishna. To become a devotee of Krishna means to connect to Krishna. We are important, and our importance will become fulfilled. We will become satisfied and fulfilled in our existence only when we connect with Krishna. If we don't connect with Krishna, then we are loose. We are of no use practically. Just like my finger. My finger is good. It's perfect as long as it's connected to my hand. Suppose I cut my finger off and it is lying there on the table. It's useless. It's my finger. It is there in front of me, but it's disconnected. It doesn't help me. In the same way, everything is connected with God. There is nothing disconnected from Him. In fact, God is everything, and we are part and parcel of God. When we become disconnected from God, we become, in His eyes, useless. We become a problem. Just like if my finger is cut off, it becomes a problem. Now, Krishna is Purnam. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam. It is complete and perfect. Purnat Purnam Udachyate. Purnasya Purnam Avyayam Purnameva Avashishyate. And because He is completely perfect, everything He creates is also completely perfect. In fact, if you take the complete away from the complete, He remains complete. That is Krishna. That is Avyayam. He has no deterioration. You cannot minimize Him. If I take this piece of paper and I cut it into little pieces, it becomes minimized. It is no longer the same paper. But that is material. Krishna is not like that. Krishna can expand himself unlimitedly and not become in any ways minimized. In fact, the more Krishna expands himself, the more he grows in glory, the more he grows in power, the more he grows in attractiveness. And we are connected to him, just like, as I said, my finger is connected to my body. Now, how is it possible that even though we are eternally connected to Krishna, we become disconnected? Well, that is possible because Krishna has given us the independence to choose to love him, to appreciate living with him, or to be independent from him. Why this choice? Because without choice, there is no love. And the purpose of life, the purpose of existence is love. Just like in a material world, even though it is a temporary place, it is a miserable place, still we try and find some love. Even it is given to us in drop by drop. We actually require a bucket of love and we're getting drops. But we try for it because there is nothing to replace love. There is nothing to compare because we are created to love. And when we love God, then we become perfect. We become connected. That is the meaning of yoga. Yoga means to connect. But it is very, very, very difficult to connect with Krishna once you become disconnected. Just like if my finger becomes amputated, an expert surgeon can put it back, but it's not easy. It requires a great expert surgical intervention by a highly qualified doctor, surgeon, to be able to connect my finger back to my hand. In the same way, when we become disconnected from God, it requires a great personality to be able to reconnect us. And that personality is the spiritual master. I was fortunate to have met and have been initiated by Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of the International Society of Krishna Consciousness. And he had the power to connect me to Krishna. I don't have such power. I tried. I tried to connect people to Krishna. In fact, I formally initiated 20 disciples some 30 years ago. But it didn't work because neither I had the power to connect them to Krishna, neither they had the power to accept my limitations. But each and every one of those initiates were told by me before the initiation took place that I am not perfect, I have not seen Krishna, I don't have the power to take you to Krishna, but I have the power to take you to someone who can take you to Krishna. I have the power to take you to Prabhupada. This is the situation. After Prabhupada died, after Prabhupada left this particular consciousness, this world, every one of his disciples is automatically a guru. Whether he takes advantage of being a guru and acts like one, or whether he doesn't, it is immaterial. It is a birthright. Just like when you grow up, you have the right to create your own family, especially if your father has left the planet. But one can fly only according to his capacity. I can be guru, my god brothers and god sisters can also be guru according to their realization, according to their connection to Prabhupada. The closer they are to Prabhupada, the more they understand that they are eternal disciples of Prabhupada, the more they are able to connect others to him. That is the secret of spiritual life. Now, being a guru is like being a pilot, you know. When you want to become a pilot, you go to flight school. And first they teach you to fly a single-engine aeroplane. When you learn to fly and land and take off a single engine airplane, you become a pilot. They give you a license. So undoubtedly you're a pilot. But that doesn't mean you can go to the airport and say, I'm a pilot, I can fly a 747. No. You may be able to fly a single engine airplane, but if you think that because you got a pilot's license for a single engine plane, you can fly a 747, then you're crazy. You will kill yourself and all the passengers in the jet. So in the same way, everyone is a guru after one's guru disappears. But how they act as guru depends on their bhajans, depends on the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. I have nothing. All I have is Prabhupada's mercy. Therefore we pray, Bhaktivinoda prays, Kripa Koro, Vaishnava Thakur. O great Vaishnava, you're not different from Krishna. Please give me your mercy. Shambandha Janiya, teach me my connection to Krishna. Give me that connection. How was Prabhupada able to give us that connection? Because he had Krishna. When you have Krishna, you can give in to somebody else. If you pretend that you have Krishna, you cannot give in to anybody. And there is a lot of pretension these days. So we pray, Sambandha Janiya, Madhya Prabhupada, give me that connection to Krishna. Bhajite, bhajite, because by practicing that connection to Krishna, abhimana haudur, my false ego, my desire for self-aggrandizement, my desire for worship, my desire for importance, my desire to receive from others becomes minimized. If I'm thinking that I'm a Vaishnava, if I have that mentality, then I become very proud. And when I become very proud, what happens? Abhimana bhara. I become weighed down by this abhiman, by this desire for self-interest. Pratishta saashi. The desire for pratishta, or for self-respect, or for worship, the desire to receive worship from others is called pratishta. So pratishtasha, the desire for that pratishta, for that worship, being worshipped by others, hridoya dushibet, contaminates the heart. Hoibo niraya gami, and I will go to hell. So one should always think that I am the lowest of the lowest of the lowest of the lowest of the servant of Srila Prabhupada. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also, he said the same thing. He said, I'm not a sannyasi, I'm not a guru, I'm not a brahmana. I am the servant of the servant of the servant of the maintainer of the gopis, Krishna. I know for a fact that Prabhupada is the servant of the servant of the servant of Krishna. And I aspire to become such a servant. Because by such aspiration, I will become free from the desire to accept worship from others. I will become free from the desire to become guru. And I will simply accept my position as an eternal servant of Prabhupada. You can do that too. Just like I do it, you can do it. Prabhupada is there in his books, right here. Prabhupada is there, right here. He spent most of his time, his quality time, he gave up his sleep from 1 a.m. to 4 a.m., is 5 a.m. For those 4 or 5 hours where everybody else was sleeping, he was awake translating these books. That's what he did for us. So if you want to know Prabhupada, love him, love his books. Just as they say in England, love me, love my dog. Now, you may meet an important person in the park, and you may not speak to him because he's a VIP, important person. But if that important person has a dog, all you're going to do is go up to the dog and say, hey, doggy, pet, pet, pet. And the man becomes so happy. He loves my dog because he loves the dog. So if you love the dog, he loves you. Simple as that. Spiritual life is not a big thing. Therefore, Bhaktivinoda, he teaches us that we should remain the servant of Srila Prabhupada. We should not accept worship from anybody unless it is forced upon us. If Krishna wants us to be a leading light in spiritual life, if Krishna wants us to be gurus, to be powerful, He will do so. This knowledge is coming down, not up. We may not jump up to get this knowledge. Reading Prabhupada's books means to read about our eternal relationship with God. Reading Prabhupada's book is called Kirtan. And Kirtan is the process of cleaning the heart. And once the heart becomes clean, Cheto Darpanamarjanam, the mirror of consciousness becomes cleansed. And when the mirror is cleansed, we can see who we are. And who are we? Nitya Krishna Das. Jivera Swarup, our eternal Swarupa, our eternal condition, our eternal existence. Nitya Krishna Das. We are eternal servants of Krishna. And this material world is a perverted reflection of the spiritual world. There is not the only difference between this world and the spiritual world is that everybody in the spiritual world is clear in his consciousness. He does not forget. He's an eternal servant of Krishna. And those in the material world have the tendency to forget. Therefore, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna comments, Urdhva Mulam Adaha Shakam Ashwatam Prayuravyayam. There is an Ashwata tree, a banyan tree. And this banyan tree, Urdhva Mulam, the roots are going up, Adaha Shakaha, the branches are going down. So what is this? This is a reflection of a tree. If you see a banyan tree on the edge of a pool of water, if you look at the reflection, the roots go up and the branches go down. Whereas the real tree, the roots go down and the branches go, but the reflection is upside down. So Krishna says this material world is avyayam. It has no beginning and no end. It is eternal. It is temporarily manifested, but it is eternally temporarily manifested. It is manifested, destroyed, created, manifested, destroyed, created, maintained, destroyed, like this. And if one understands the nature of this material world, he becomes free from illusion. He understands his eternal relationship with Krishna. And what is the secret of understanding this relationship? That is explained also. Chandamsi yasya parnani yastam veda saveda veda. Parnani, the leaves of this tree, or the chanda. Chandamsi. Chanda means the mantras in the Vedas. Yastam Veda Saveda Ved. One who understands this tree understands the purpose of the Vedic knowledge, understands who he is, understands his eternal relationship with Krishna. And Krishna says in this verse that I quoted today, Bahunam Jamanamante. That understanding comes after many, many, many births. Gyanavam Mam. People can know me after many, many births. And what is that knowledge of Krishna? That Krishna is everything. Vasudev. One of the names of Krishna is Vasudev. Means one who is eternally existing in full consciousness everywhere at all times. Sarvamiti, and who is everything. And one who understands this is called a Mahatma, a real great soul. And he is Sudurlabha, very, very difficult to find. Now, on Wednesday, I quoted some comments by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he comments that the material world, it is full of people who are working, karmis. And out of many, many karmis, one becomes detached from serving himself and becomes and accepts his position. Every one of us are born in a certain position. And that position is that our happiness and distress is already settled with our birth. Not only is our happiness and distress already settled, everything about this life is already settled. In other words, when we take birth, we get a package deal. It's a package. You cannot change it. Just like, and part of this package is that whatever you've done in your previous life, you will suffer and enjoy in this life. You cannot change that. So, one who is a karmi doesn't understand that. One who works for his own sense enjoyment, for his own profit, he doesn't understand that. Therefore, understanding of the futility of material life, one becomes detached. One accepts his position. One who accepts his position is called a karmanishta. And out of many, many such karmanishta, one becomes interested in spiritual knowledge, not material knowledge, spiritual knowledge. It's called a jnani. And one who understands jnana and studies the Vedas and studies the scriptures, he can become detached and become liberated. Becoming liberated means no longer identifying with the body. I am a spirit soul. Aham Brahmasmi. And out of many, many liberated souls, hardly one is the devotee of Krishna. Koti muktva madhye durlabha eka Krishna bhakta. Out of koti, out of tens of millions of muktas, or liberated soul, durlabha eka Krishna bhakta. It is very difficult to find one devotee of Krishna. And this is repeated in this Bhagavad Gita that I'm quoting today. Bahunam janmanam, after many, many births, one can understand who is Krishna. So what gives? What gives is that we are becoming blessed by the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. What does this blessing mean? That there's been an amnesty. Every time Krishna appears, which he did 5,000 years ago in this particular kalpa of day of Brahma, Krishna comes once on this planet every day of Brahma. Krishna doesn't forget us. We forget him, but he doesn't forget us. Just like a father, he never forgets his child. The child may forget, he may leave home, but the father never forgets. He's always thinking of the welfare of the child. So Krishna appears once in a day of Brahma, and immediately after his appearance is the next Kali Yuga, Lord Chaitanya appears and he gives an amnesty to everybody. Never mind Bahunam Jammani, never mind many, many births, never mind. You simply chant Hare Krishna and you'll become liberated. This is the benefit of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So if we take advantage of this, then we can easily make an end to material life. The opposite of this, the consequence of not accepting this, is to accept old age, disease, and death. Sometimes I get into a discussion, and sometimes I meet an atheist, and he will not listen to my philosophy, he will not agree with me. So there is only one conclusion. What I say is, my dear sir, very good, you may not accept what I have to say. Enjoy your old age, enjoy your disease, and enjoy your death, because it is coming. You may not believe in God, but you will meet him when you die. Nobody can argue against this. Thank you very much. Today is Friday, tomorrow is Radhastami, so I am still in Thailand. I'm sorry, but the quality of the video is not very good. The sound should be better. I'll check in a few minutes. I thank you for participating. Please feel free to comment. I will post this video on the Bhagavad Gita class and on the ISKCON Amsterdam Facebook page. Right now I have John Garrett who is participating. Thank you for coming, John Prabhu. All glories to you. Please feel free to leave any comments and I will reply to them in due course. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.